I want to give another success story by Helen Hadsell, the late great Helen Hadsell. For those of you who don't know, I talked about Helen Hadsell in a bunch of my videos. Helen Hadsell was known as the contest queen. She was so good at entering contests and winning them that if anybody else saw her entering a contest, they would not even dare enter the contest because they knew she would take the first prize home. That's how good she was. And she manifested things such as a house, trips, money, kitchen utensils, small things, middle things, big things, etc., etc. She was just that good. She was very, very, very good at visualizing. That was her go-to method, was visualizing. As I said in my previous video, if you don't, I'm not a visualizer. I never visualize. Doesn't mean you cannot get what you want. Doesn't mean I cannot get what I want. No, you can get what you want, but visualizing is still a great tool to get what you want. And Helen Hadsell was amazing at visualizing. And this was her go-to. Her go-to methods was visualizing and persistent assumption. She would never take no for an answer. And I want to talk about a very particular story about how she got exactly what she wanted and how good she was. There was a particular game show on TV at that time. And this game show was hosted by this famous person at that time named Art Linkletter. Helen Hadsell had always wanted to meet this person. So she wanted to go to the show. So what happened one day, she drove to this other city and she went to the studios where this show was filmed, was recorded. It was not a live show. And this particular show was the Christmas show. So it was an even more special time for her. So Helen Hadsell got at the studios and she was queuing. There was a long queue in front of this particular studio. At one point, the man in charge came out and said, there is no more seats available for the Art Linkletter show. But here is another show. Please follow me and I will get you seated. So everybody followed this man to the other studio. But Helen Hadsell stayed put. She didn't yield, she just stayed and waited. After a while, the man came back. The same man came back and asked her, are you still here? There's no seat available. And Helen Hadsell said to this young man, I have traveled all this way because I want to meet Art Linkletter and I want to be on this show. So this man, seeing how reluctant Helen Hadsell was to move away, went back inside the studio, the Art Linkletter studio, and checked if there were any seats available. Fortunately for Helen Hadsell, fortunately or not, he found a seat on the balcony and she got her seat and she happened to be on this particular Christmas show. When the Art Linkletter, after she got seated, and after the show started, Art Linkletter came out and he was walking to the crowd and saying hi to the people in the audience, greeting people, etc., etc. And at one point, he saw Helen Hadsell and he came to see her. And he asked her, do I know you? Have I seen you before? And Helen Hadsell said, I have never been here. This is my first time here. And Art Linkletter looked at her and said, well, you are the winner of tonight's grand prize. And he gave her the grand prize of this beautiful, expensive watch. After that, during the break, Art Linkletter was still looking at her. And at one point he asked her again, Are you sure we have never met before? And she said, no, this is my first time. What really happened is she didn't have the heart to tell him what really happened. The night before she was on the show, the night before she got the watch, she was sitting in her hotel room and she said to herself, I am going to be on your show, Earthlink Letter, and you're going to see me and you're going to recognize me and you're going to feel like we've known each other for a long time. And that's what happened the day after. And that's why Helen Hadsell is the contest queen. She is just amazing. And that's just another story out of countless stories of how good she was. And I can go on and on about her stories. I mean, no, I cannot go on. I have a bunch of them, maybe 10 of them. But this is just crazy. This story is just crazy. And I want to share this story with you guys because because she's not that popular, Helen Hadsell. But still, her example of life, of lifestyle, of manifestation is a great inspiration for us. And obviously, don't be too hard on yourself because what I mean by that is don't be too hard on yourself and do beat yourself up because you're not at her level. She's like, you have normal basketball players, you have G League players, you have European basketball leagues, and you have the NBA, and within the NBA you have 500 players, and they're all elite world-class players. But amongst those 500 players, you have 10 players who are amazing, who are the greatest, and amongst those 10 players, you have 2 or 3 who are superstar, and you have pretty much LeBron James, right? So that's why I said that Helen Hadsell was the greatest of all time, because she's on another level. It doesn't mean you cannot achieve what she has achieved. Hell no, you can definitely aim for that. But don't beat yourself up if you're not at his level. She is, in my opinion, a natural. She was naturally gifted at being persistent and visualizing. So that's why I'm saying you can get a result. I'm just using Helen Hadsell's story as an inspiration, not to make you feel bad. No, it's a great inspiration to understand what is achievable with the power of the mind. And I'll leave you with a few quotes by Helen Hadsell. First thing is, there is no delay, only... There is no failure, only delay in results. That's by Helen Hadsell. And I'll give you a couple more quotes that are in line with Helen Hadsell's story. Never take no for an answer. That's by Neville Goddard. And be importunate. Being importunate, it means having brazen impudence. Neville Goddard relates the story of a man who had a friend came into town, and this man at a late hour went to see the baker and knocked on his door and said, my friend has just come to town. I want 3 loaves of bread. And the baker told him, it is late. I'm not baking anything. But the man stayed put and insisted, my friend has just come and I need 3 loaves of bread. And the baker yielded and gave him the 3 loaves of bread. Now again, this is a story from the Bible. I'm not saying you should do this if you need bread and if a friend came to your place. I'm just saying this is an example and this is a metaphor of not taking no for an answer. So remember, be persistent in your assumption and don't take no for an answer. There is no failure, only delay in result. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you very soon.